You're listening to DraftKings Network.
Folks, this year the big game is not just for football fans. It's time to go all in on food. Tums and DraftKings have teamed up to create a free-to-play pool so you can get in on the action and keep on snacking. There's a share of $10,000 up for grabs. To take home the cheddar, just make the right picks about America's game day grub. Play free in the Tums Prop Bites pool on DraftKings to score big without the burn. Learn more at TumsPropBites.com. Eligibility restrictions apply. Void where prohibited. See DraftKings.com for details.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
Presented by DraftKings Fantasy Sports. Check out what DraftKings has to offer this season with code DAN, because life's more fun when you're in on the action. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Age and eligibility restrictions apply. Void where prohibited. See DraftKings.com for details.
What a fascinating success, Stugotz, this Peacock NFL football game was for streamers and the NFL, and fascinating at least in part because I don't know if all of the people buying that game understand that they've just made it so that everyone knows that they can now charge you more and more often for buying those games, because the industry was changed this weekend when Peacock, which paid $110 million for that game, somehow got a rating 6% higher than the one on broadcast television last time they played a Saturday wild card game at night. The Jacksonville Chargers game last year, that was the debacle that cost Mike a lot of money because the Chargers were up 27-0 at the half and then lost the game to Jacksonville. That game did 6% worse than this one. That's the Taylor Swift effect. That's the Kansas City Chiefs effect. I don't think the Miami Dolphins had much of anything to do with that, although the Miami Dolphins do have fans all over the world.
There was interest in the Dolphins. I mean, they were a team that scored a lot of points this season.
About the same as there would be in a Chargers-Jacksonville game. The spike was because of Kansas City.
I don't think we're too far away removed from their success. That the Dolphins are still an international brand, despite Lamar Smith being in the backfield for their last playoff win.
We're 30 years or more removed from their success. It's multiple generations we're removed from Miami Dolphins' success.
Yeah, but for whatever reason, the brand carries weight. As example by them probably having a game in Brazil next year.
Yeah, they're on Hard Knocks, too.
Yeah, they're on Hard Knocks, and that's why they're always playing, the...
What do you guys argue?
The NFL...
A lot of teams have been on Hard Knocks. That's a weird one.
What do you guys... It's the Chiefs and Taylor Swift. What are you guys arguing with me about?
We agree with you. We're just saying the Dolphins contributed a little bit to the interest.
They played in the game somewhat. That's how they contributed. They were also there.
That's too dismissive.
Anyone else who was playing against the Chiefs, against Taylor Swift in a playoff game would have also gotten that number, and better teams would have gotten a better number.
I think the point is, if you're putting the Chiefs at the top in terms of where is the national interest, the Dolphins are not at the bottom. The Dolphins are at in the middle with this with the fun offense.
Again, though, the reason that people were watching the game, it's another playoff game if it's the Dolphins. It's the same as Chargers-Jacksonville if it's just the Dolphins. It's the Taylor Swift effect. The fact that they could go 6%, look, man, don't tell me this isn't a sea change. The fact that they could go 6% higher while eliminating old people who don't have Peacock and don't need Peacock and don't know how to find Peacock, the fact that they could do better than broadcast network television and the familiarity of finding the games everywhere you find them, I'm stunned that they went higher in a streaming service than they did on broadcast television. Amazon has been leaking fans for the NFL because of the Thursday night game, because it's not the same thing. People are used to, you eliminate the old and you eliminate the poor when you put it in a place that people can't get it for free in the same place that they always find it. And they did that and still increased by 6%. That stunned me. It did. And I'm assuming it's because of Taylor Swift and the Chiefs that make it a different kind of game that has to be sought out.
I would also say the weather contributed to that novelty game. Like, there was a lot of talk about, can these teams play in freezing cold weather? And so I think, Dan, no one's disagreeing with you. I think those are probably the top two things. We're just saying there were other factors into that number.
Yeah, like Tyreek Hill returning to Kansas City I think, was a little bit of an interest level. And keep in mind, the first half of this season, the Dolphins were the it team in the NFL. They scored 70 points in a game for the first time since the 1930s. I mean, they were an offense that was record-setting. And so there is an interest in the Dolphins, and Mike is exactly right. They have a national following.
International.
They travel very well. They have huge fan clubs all over London.
Mm-hmm.
They're a team with a draw beyond the NFL.
They do find themselves in a branding crossroads, though, because the moniker Fins Up has to be retired due to a dispute with the estate of Jimmy Buffett. So what do we say now as a rallying cry for the Miami Dolphins?
It looks a little more ridiculous now. Today, Mike McDaniel running off of the field with a shark's fin meant to be a dolphin.
No. What you just did there,
head.
scrub the video. It's like, that's a trademark infringement. What was the team motto before Fins Up?
Go Dolphins? I don't know.
Yeah. That should do it.
Go Dolphins.
No, he figured it out. Go Dolphins.
Clever.
Right. With an exclamation point.
Tyreek Hill was all over social media. People kept showing him. He was making fun of his own ashy lips coming out onto the field, why no one told him anything about that. He also is pointing out that L'Jarius Sneed, a lot of people are showing the video of him getting jammed into the ground by L'Jarius Sneed, and he said he jammed my ass back to Cancun. And he also says on social media, F everybody else, it's still Fins Up. That's what Tyreek Hill
Wow. That seems directed at Jimmy Buffett's estate. That is hugely disrespectful.
Stugotz, can you tell me here if we finally saw Mike Tomlin blink? Let's play this video here of them losing against Buffalo yesterday in a game that was played at 4:30 in the afternoon on a Monday.
Anyone? Mike, you have a year left on your contract.
He did blink.
He walked out in the middle of the question.
Agreed.
Let's go ahead and look at that again and see exactly how far into the question he got before he just walked out.
Anyone? Mike, you have a year left on your contract.
Year.
Please,
It's not right, man.
Do your job, Tomlin.
Seriously, answer the question.
Yeah, or at least answer it without saying anything, but answer it.
All we do is praise you winning season after winning season, even though you've lost your last 5 playoff games. I think you've won 1 Super Bowl. You probably should have won more. And your job is never up. You have never taken your contract to the end, and the reporter is doing her job by asking that question. And for you to walk out in that situation, please, you've been asked it once in your life. Answer the question.
If I may, the way he answered it, better than any other way he could have possibly answered it for us.
It's the only way we play it.
Any amount of words he could have said there, not as good as what it is that he did by way of his answer. Thank you, Mike Tomlin, for doing it that way. I salute you. I don't understand how your team was still playing games yesterday.
He creates more questions, though, with that response.
Yes, exactly.
Like, that is, to Dan's point, that's a response more than just playing the game of saying the same thing he would say every other year in that spot.
There was some more positive locker room and post-game feelings. I think a lot of people had this reaction for Detroit. I know Stugotz was celebrating Jared Goff yesterday, but there were a lot of people to be happy for in Detroit, including Man Campbell. Let's watch this.
We play next Sunday back here at home, guys. So look, we got the winner of Tampa and Philly, which is tomorrow. We'll be here at 3 o'clock back at Ford Field because you guys earned it. Dude, how electric was it out there? I'm telling you what, it doesn't get any better. It's everything you dream of and then more. All right, that's outstanding work. I got 2 game balls. All right, number 1, listen, when you come in 3 years ago, like me and this guy did, and you had a vision and you start working together and you've got an idea how you want to build it and the type of players you're looking for, and how you want to go top to bottom, offense, defense, special teams, and you're in f***ing lockstep. You're in f***ing lockstep. I'm telling you guys, it's a shitty business. It ain't always perfect, but we do a pretty good job, baby. Right? But without this f***ing guy right here, man, Brad Holmes. absolutely love every single person in this room, man. We were intentional on being about grit, all right, and earning it. I love everybody in here, man. We went through darkness and it shaped us, all right? It shaped us for this moment. I love y'all, man. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Especially this time, man. Okay, I'll just say it like this. Right? Hey, you're good enough for Detroit, Jay.
Hey, I love and appreciate you guys more than you fucking know. I promise you that. I love you guys so fucking much. This is just the beginning, boys. This is just the fucking beginning. We got 3 more of these next week at home, at our place, against whoever the fuck wants to come in here. Let's go. Win all 3, 1, 2, 3, win!
Why are you laughing, Chris Cody?
Man Campbell's so much better at that than Jared Goff is at the end there. Come on, guys. Let's go. We worked hard.
Who's Brad Holmes?
GM.
He was in the elevator. That was cool watching him go down in the elevator after the victory, just shouting in the elevator. How good does it have to feel? Man, that city, that team have been a laughingstock for 30 years. And we did this show did a lot of laughing at Man Campbell and I'll bite your kneecaps.
I'm tired of the Cowboys. They always lose in the playoffs. I don't like the Cowboys to begin with. I think the Lions, because everyone is rooting for Dan Campbell, Jared Goff, and Detroit, and that city because they have been through, as you said, 30 years of misery. I think they are America's team.
More than that. More than 30 years.
I think America, if your team is still not in it, if you live in one of the cities where your team is already out, you should be rooting for the Lions.
Yes.
There's some Stone Cold Steve Austin and Dan Campbell.
Gravel.
Like, when I close my eyes, I heard Stone Cold.
There is, it sounds, put it on the poll, please, Juju.
God damn it!
At Le Batard Show, yes. Get the Stone Cold for me again. Stone Cold taking the cold. Because there is some absolute, put it on the poll, Juju, at Le Batard Show. Does it sound in Dan Campbell's voice like someone is walking across loose gravel? Because
revisit this thing.
Yeah, let's hear some Dan Campbell getting into a cold plunge.
God damn it. Whoa.
Jeez.
God damn it. Hey, what's up? God damn it. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Steve coming to the Broke Skull Ranch. I got this new therapy. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Steve coming to the Broken Skull Run. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Steve coming to the Broken Skull Ranch. About to do my first cold plunge and renewed therapy. My shop says 43 degrees right now, so I'm sure the water is sub 50. I was going to start off at 50. It's going to be a little bit colder than that. And we're going 3 minutes here. Once it gets on to 12, and 5, 4, 3, 2, down we go. God damn. Son of a bitch. Oh, mother. Gonna revisit this mother.
Revisit.
The Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz is sponsored by BetterHelp. Around New Year's, we get obsessed with how to change ourselves instead of just expanding on what we're already doing right. Therapy can be helpful for personal growth, managing mental health challenges, improving relationships, or coping with life changes. Embarking on therapy in the new year can be a positive and transformative step for many individuals. Personal growth and change take time. Be patient with yourself and acknowledge the progress, no matter how small. Therapy helps you find your strengths so you can ditch the extreme resolutions and make changes that really stick. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited for your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Therapy helps you find your strengths so you can ditch the extreme resolutions and make changes that really stick. Celebrate the progress you've already made. Visit BetterHelp.com/DLB today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/DLB.
Dan Le Batard.
I'm gonna get some golf ASMR.
Stugotz.
Oh, me.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz. It is time for Stugotz to share his game notes. No one in the media will tell you what happened better than my boy Stu.
Weekend observations brought to you by Miller Lite. Great taste, 96 calories, available for delivery. Dan, it had been 32 long years since they last won a playoff game. The Cold War had just ended. Dan Campbell was in high school. Jared Goff still wouldn't be born for another 2 years. Their fans have been through it. They were the joke of the league in a league that includes the New York Jets. But Dan, that all changed over the weekend. Make no mistake about it. After over 3 decades of misery in the Motor City, the Detroit Lions, America's team, are back.
Don't you have to have been something before you can be back? I feel
yes,
like
technically. I mean,
feel
semantics.
Like,
Right.
But were they ever here before? I mean,
Well, 32 years ago.
Ask Bobby Lane.
Yep.
Can I? Is he still alive?
I doubt it, but go ahead. Look it up.
Tony, go ahead and look up when Bobby Lane passed away.
It's a great name, though.
Was that Night Train?
No.
That was Dick Night Train Lane.
Right.
That's a fun. Yeah.
I asked a question. I was asking, was...
That's fair.
Bobby Lane died in 1986.
Huh.
86. I only have one hand here, Daniel, because I got the thing, so it's
Right.
hard to type with one hand.
I was young, only 60 years old.
Huh. Headline: Jerry Jones, mum, on Mike McCarthy's future. He's so fired. The D in Kalen DeBoer stands for Do It at Alabama. I mean, a lot of pressure there. Also a lot of money. Kevin Stefanski, the rare Coach of the Year candidate, who is also on the hot seat. How about that? It's never happened before, I don't think. It's on the hot seat. The guy coach his ass off.
Is he on the hot seat?
I mean, if Belichick calls and you're the Browns, what do you do, Dan?
Well, a few places that it's never worked for Bill Belichick.
Yeah. Chiefs-Dolphins, do it at Lambeau. The frozen tundra. Belichick, Cowboys, collision course. Dan, you know what the C in C.J. Stroud stands for?
I do not.
It stands for Carolina traded up and picked the wrong quarterback. That's embarrassing, man.
Yeah, it is.
You traded up to not take C.J. Stroud?
And you didn't listen to your football people when they said they wanted CJ.
Mm-hmm.
In fact,
Also,
you fired them.
Yes, you did. It also stands for Canton. He's going there.
I mean, he is a rare, special quarterback.
Mm-hmm. Dan Quinn, how about you worry less about becoming a head coach again and more about coaching your defense? What an embarrassment. That should set him back like 4 years. Seriously. Who's going to hire him after that? Huh?
That was an aggressive, huh?
It was.
It really was. He was demanding an answer.
I mean,
what? Do you think all Dans have to defend each other? Like, why were you hiring me?
I don't know why. It was weird. But you're in a playoff game. Your defense is supposed to be great. It's not great. You're thinking ahead about being a head coach again. Don't. Coach your defense. That's all I'm saying. Once they moved the Bills game, having to wait until 4:30 for football on Sunday was torture. I don't like this 4:30 thing. I need football at 1. I sense you agree with me, or nodding your head?
It's tough. I was so thankful to see El Clasico on the guide.
I was also just staring at Cody's asthma inhaler as I tried to think of us getting younger and smarter.
I'll hide it.
Dan, I'm telling you now so you're not surprised when the baseball season strolls around. Marcus Stroman is a Yankee.
Thank you, Stugotz.
The Stro Show.
He should be an Astro.
I mean, Dan, we're getting close. Enjoy the next few weekends because soon it's me, you, baseball, and Joey Chestnut. That's all we got.
Can he do it again this year?
I don't know.
Dynasty.
Bill Belichick, Philadelphia Eagles, collision course.
Wait a minute.
What happened?
Oh, he's right.
Mm-hmm.
But he just said.
He's right about that one, too.
Well, we'll see. Mm-hmm.
What will we see?
Where he chooses to go.
I'm just saying you're spreading it out pretty good there when you're saying collision course Philadelphia, collision course Dallas. This reminds me, Mina Kimes has a little bit of Stugotz in her. She picked the Rams on her podcast, and she picked the Lions on NFL Live.
That hurts, Mike. Mike has my observations.
Yeah, don't give your takes while he's giving his takes. You might cross take.
How am I supposed to know what's in his takes? How should I know that?
Just know, I mean.
Sense it.
I'm aware of that. You know it's going to be in there. I mean,
I did. How would I have known?
out now.
How would I have known that was in there?
You cannot pay me to dig my way through snow to find my seat at an NFL game. Not enough money you could pay me.
Isn't that the truth?
I mean, are you kidding me?
Wow.
Sit on your couch. For a team that Dan claimed is never out of it because they could score at any moment, the Dolphins were sure out of it quickly because they couldn't score at any moment. Disappointing. Since we announced we were going to the Super Bowl in Las Vegas, the Dolphins are 0-3 and outscored by 63 points. Jinxes, anybody?
The moment we announced everybody was going to
It's
Vegas.
our fault.
Oh, my God.
Also, the Titans game, we did a watch party. No more events around Dolphins games.
God almighty.
All this talk about the Dolphins losing in that weather. Question for you. Did it get warmer when the Chiefs had the ball? Josh Allen can scoot. Mike was right. Baker Mayfield has the goods. Dude.
There are a couple of great stats involving the Browns and Mayfield. Mayfield has won more playoff games than the Browns since 1999. Mayfield has had eight head coaches in his career, which is crazy.
Matthew Stafford. Do it in Detroit. Dan, you know what was on the menu Sunday night in Detroit?
I do not.
Kneecaps. Jared Goff exacted his revenge. I'm not 100% certain what nepotism looks like, but I'm pretty certain it looks like Tom Izzo's kid walking onto the Michigan State basketball team.
He works hard.
Get a scholarship. Speaking of nepotism, Steve and Brian Belichick.
Harbaugh's kid, a lot of people were pointing out Harbaugh's kid was the special teams coach in that game where the punt returner dropped the ball at the 1 yard line.
I know this has been a crazy Michigan. I know this has been a crazy Michigan season, but do you guys remember that Jack Harbaugh was co-head coach for a game?
Yeah.
What?
He gets a championship ring because he was co-head coach for one game this season, a championship winning season.
The Rams' flight was delayed multiple hours after plane issues. Hopefully nobody missed their connection to Cancun. Kalen DeBoer, the rare coach who got his team to a national championship. Then after 30 minutes, you can't remember if it's Kalen or Caleb. Katie Nolan, do it against Ken Jennings. Patrick Beverly is a 76er. Huh? What are you laughing at? Ken Jennings?
I'm still
funny.
I'm still laughing at you telling Katie Nolan to win Jeopardy
She's
against
so good at
Ken
that.
Jennings. Yes.
Smart, man. I'd give anything to see the amount of money Phil Knight wired Dan Lanning after Nick Saban retired. Patrick Mahomes, do it on the road. Patrick Mahomes, do it in warm weather. Patrick Mahomes, do it in a dome. If we're being honest, Joe Flacco was due for a stinker. The Jets trading for Jordan Love in 2037. Collision course. Tired of them. The Packers I'm talking about. How? I can't wait for the video of a shirtless Bill Belichick sneaking out of Jerry Jones's house at 5:30 in the morning.
What were they doing? Like, why would he be?
Well, you remember McCarthy had to sleep over his house.
Over his house as part of the interview.
So odd. Underreported story. Why a sleepover?
Why shirtless?
They're adults.
I think he added the shirtless detail just because we have video of Bill Belichick at a Ring doorbell leaving an apartment shirtless.
Mm-hmm. It'd be great if Belichick negotiated that his sons had to stay in New England. Tired of those kids. Dan, the D in Dak stands for do it in the playoffs. You know what the P in Prescott stands for?
I do not.
Not playoffs.
Okay, so I still don't know what it stands for.
Nope. Quite the weekend for Stephen A. Smith. Top 5 people who were the happiest over the weekend. Number 5, Skip Bayless. Dallas losing is good for the business of Skip. Number 4, Bill Belichick. Number 3, Deshaun Watson. He had enough of Joe Flacco. Thank you. Just thundering through. Number 2, Stephen A.
You have shirtless Bill Belichick.
The sound that's accompanying you is Bill Belichick leaving that apartment shirtless. That's why you're not getting the sounds you're accustomed to.
Stephen A.
The walking down the stairs.
Number 1, Brian Gutekunst. Here come the Jazz.
What?
They're good. Watch out.
Nice little game for Markkanen.
Cam Ward to Miami. Looks like Mike Ryan's check cleared. Mike McDaniel was so much cooler when we thought he was smarter than everyone else. Dan Campbell's post-game locker room speech. Goosebumps. Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid are the same person. I kept calling Dawson Knox Dalton Knox and Dalton Kincaid Dawson Kincaid.
So did my mom.
It's a tricky game.
Sometimes a Dallas Clark will sneak in there.
The Packers have more playoff wins at AT&T Stadium than the Cowboys do.
That's crazy. That's an amazing stat.
Oh, boy. Mina Kimes. What do I do here? Skip it? Mina Kimes picking the Lions on the Mina Kimes Show with Lenny and the Rams on NFL Live. Mina, the Stugotz, is strong in you. I don't care what Pat Riley says. Dwayne Wade is not getting that statue. I'll move mountains. I'll work my fingers to the bones. No chance in hell. Speaking of hell, Art Briles. Dan, those are the weekend observations.
Dan Le Batard.
Many of you, by the way, are writing in and you're saying, Dan, quit being so mean to co-hosts that you always deem incompetent. That's the formula, man. Me being mean to the co-host is what allows Stugotz to take a very wealthy vacation right now.
Stugotz.
It's a winning position for everyone but me. Have you guys not figured this out yet? That's the whole thing, is me being rotten straight man as everyone else gets to be incompetent, and I yell at them for being incompetent. And here's the miracle of it. It's the magic elixir. Bad, which is the only thing Greg Cody can be, becomes good and lovable. And it's because standing next to obnoxious, strident me makes everyone look that way.
Yeah, and the brush with death helped.
Yeah, that was planned by me. The whole thing was contrived.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
So John Reed made a Las Vegas song that we played on the air, and it was a catchy little ditty. By the way, if you want to be with us at Stadium Swim at Circa Hotel, February 8th and 9th, we're doing a live show, live broadcast, February 8th and 9th at 10 a.m. Pacific time. Reserve your tickets right now. We've been blown away by the early response to this, and we have a much more tidy web address for you to go to, for you to lock in your place for Las Vegas as our show descends upon Las Vegas, Nevada for the Super Bowl. First time ever in our show's illustrious history that the entire cast of the show will be traveling to the Super Bowl location. Head over to circalasvegas.com/LeBatard. So we've had that theme song for a little bit.
I should point out to the people, incidentally, that I've seen some of the planning and some of the photographs. This is going to be a wonderful party that's going to, I don't want to overpromise here, but it's going to be a lot of fun.
It should be great, provided that Dan and I don't tear apart at the seams. Here's that song by John Reed, and I want to get to it. What this is actually inspired around these parts.
Viva Las Vegas, here we come. Hey, 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 who is that Dan? Is that Stu? Is that Mike, Ryan, Billy, Gil, Chris, and Greg too? Is that Juju? Out in Vegas. Oh boy, is that Roy? Is that Roy? Talking hockey at the bar. Look, you done took it too far. Out in Vegas, Roy to the penalty box. Viva Las Vegas. Hey, 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 who?
It's a banger of a parody song, and John Reed went back in the lab. And I will debut a new John Reed song in a second. But we have a live shot of Jeremy Taché, who is also musically inclined, and he is hard at work in the lab right now, crafting another song for this show. So John Reed, an unlikely source, but I thank you for the inspiration that you've given our team, and you've earned yourself an opportunity to trust you until it goes south. Now, I fear that this may go south very quickly, but because of the Viva Las Vegas song, I will play your next song, and this is a parody song that has to do with the Dolphins' empty promises this season.
The Dolphins haven't won a playoff since 2000, which is the longest drought ever now.
And they have the most consecutive playoff losses with 6 consecutive playoff losses.
Dwayne Wade has started and finished college and started and finished a Hall of Fame career and gotten a statue and into the Hall of Fame since the last time the Dolphins won a playoff game.
I thought I found the right Dolphins to ease our troubled minds. You said we would be in Vegas, baby. Instead, it's the same old lies. I thought we had a chance. Now it's all over. Said we would be there every step of the way. But all we ever get is empty promise, Dolphins. Empty promise, Dolphins. Empty promise, Dolphins.
Return to the Blues. Maybe we don't trust them as much.
Agreed.
It's hard living up to Viva Las Vegas, though, you know.
We will get to a parade of gas bags in a moment.
Oh, wow.
It has been a minute since we have done one of those. I suspect that Greg Cody will be featured prominently in that as the greatest of the Dolphin homers. But I wanted to ask you guys something. I had a dog park incident over the weekend and actually called my wife afterward, and I was proud of myself for being able to muzzle my own rage at what it was happening, because I could have had an escalation that would have been unwise for me at 55 years old. But it's a big park, and the dogs run free at the park, and sometimes dog behaves like dog. You can't really control, I don't think, whether or not a dog gets into it with another dog. I'd like to think you can, but you never know when that's going to happen. And my dog seems to have big problems with other dogs that have balls. My dog does not have balls, but when other dogs have balls and there are girls involved, sometimes it escalates. And my dog's a pit bull. My dog will not actually do anything bad to anybody. He just makes noise and growls and stuff, but he's a pit bull, and it comes with all sorts of preconceived notions. So I'm on the phone on one part of the park, and I see that an owner is scared and my dog is, wrestling with another dog who is now submitted. The other dog has submitted and my dog is on top of the dog. And I go running over, right, to just grab my dog off of the other dog and put his collar back on and his leash back on. And as I'm doing it, and I'm down on the ground doing it, I'm having trouble doing it because the dude's standing over me and screaming at me to control my dog. And I understand his fear, but he's insulting me while I'm doing this, and I'm having trouble with his collar because I'm getting so agitated about this guy being over me when I'm both understanding his fear and also trying to soothe him by explaining, look, my dog isn't any kind of a problem. It just looks like it.
You're not focused. You're not focused at the task at hand.
I'm focused on my rage because this person is insulting me, but yet I'm also compassionate to his fear because I get it. That's not something that you want, but he's yelling at me about my inability to control my dog from behaving like a dog. And this happens for a minute because, Stugotz, my hands are now shaking with anger at this person standing over me, and I was able in that, and this is different for me, not just with age, Stugotz, but because now everybody in Florida is armed. Like you gotta kind of be smarter about stuff like that. And when I got up and started talking to him, I explained to him calmly. His wife was actually taking my side on it. I explained to him calmly that he's escalating matters because he was very close to me being on his neck the way my dog was on his dog's neck.
Hell yeah.
And no, I mean, I said it to him like that. I'm like, you're not helping matters. Like I wasn't mad at him. Like I'm like, I totally understand everything about your fear there, and it's how I was able to sort of make my rage subside, but that unwise for him to do that, but yet I didn't blame him. So what do you do in that situation? Both if you're me and you're him. You have a dog that you love and you're afraid of pit bulls and you're afraid that a pit bull is going to do something to your dog. Like, I totally understood his fear. What I didn't understand is how he was berating me with insults.
Making it worse, making the whole situation worse, escalating the situation. It doesn't help that his wife is siding with you. That never helps because I'm certain he was getting more angry because his wife was siding with you. I have a rule for a dog park. I'm sorry. When you bring your dog to a dog park, you let dogs be dogs. That's it. You take the leash off. You let them run around. If they wrestle a little bit, if they play, too bad. If you don't like it, don't bring your dog to the dog park. That's it.
I really didn't know whether, whether I should have been angrier or should have been more understanding because
you were understanding, Dan. You ran.
Was it scary? Was your dog like baring his teeth a little bit? Or was he just very clearly playing?
No, they were playing, and he was getting the other dog to submit. But you have to let animals hash some of this stuff out because this sort of stuff happens at the dog park with dogs all the time. But again, pit bulls have a reputation, and so I totally understand why anybody would be afraid of that reputation, even though I know my dog. I've told you before, my dog's afraid of the ATM. My dog is afraid of balloons. My dog is afraid of fireworks. My dog is afraid of rain. Like, I know that my dog is a bit of an anxious creature that is kind of harmless, but you can't know that. I also know that I can't physically hurt my dog. Like, I can't, I spank my dog just to like play with him because there's no way that I can, there's no part of him that I can hurt. Like, he's too strong, too muscular. I can't do anything with him.
Your dog's also afraid of balls. I mean,
he's not afraid of balls.
So he got the dog with balls to submit with him being ballless.
That's right. That is correct.
Alpha male.
But you properly assessed the situation without the person saying something. You were going over to handle the situation.
I sprinted over.
I know. You don't sprint for anything.
This is not about your dog. It's about you. I'm proud of you.
Yeah, say it.
What kind of thing was the guy screaming at you? I'm just curious.
You know, why can everybody else in this park control this dog and you bleepity bleep can't control your dog?
And then when you shouted back at him, do you know who I
didn't
am?
shout back. I didn't
What
shout
did he
back
say
at
then?
him. Have you read my Herald columns?
Yeah, that's my go-to. But you travel with an entourage, though. Like, at no point did your PAs not jump in, your security detail? Like, where were those people? You know, that's what I'm wondering.
Fair point.
You know, the dog has his own entourage over there.
You thought the butler should have jumped in?
Yes, exactly. You know, you don't work alone. You always got a crew with you. They should have been at your hand.
This is a new and unimproved Dan Le Batard show with the Stugotz. Gamble on by DraftKings.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.